Back to my channel, and in this video we're talking about the top brushes that you should have in your collection and why. So if that sounds interesting, let's get started. Now these are no particular order. One of the brushes I think that everybody needs in their collection is a blending crease brush. I always use multiples of these because I really like to be able to blend different colors in the crease and switch them out for different shades and things like that. We have a couple different ones here. This one is from Profusion, this one is from Wet n Wild, and then this one is from Sonia Kashuk. So I definitely think that you need a sort of fluffy crease brush. The next brush that you need is a big powder brush, and this can be to set the face. If you have powder up under your eyes so that you can catch fallout, you can just quickly brush it away. I have a couple different examples. This one is from Wet n Wild. You can see the fluffy bristles, but it's also tapered. I have a powder brush from the Balm as well. This is a newer brush in my collection. And then this big fluffy brush from Real Techniques. This was like a fancy, I think it was called the Diamond Crush collection, and that's from Real Techniques. And then I also have one that is a little bit pointed and tapered, and this one is from Sonia Kashuk. So I definitely think you need a big fluffy brush. Next, I think a large shadow brush is really important, especially for trying to put laying down color all over the lid. I use this a lot to set any kind of primer or concealer, and it's just very easy, and it covers a huge a large area. So I have one here from Real Techniques, and the other one, I want to say it's Beauty Creations. I really love this brush. I got one from Gabriel Brothers, but I have seen them at TJ Maxx. So I definitely suggest these. The next one is a cheek or blush brush, and there's a couple different options. I have this sort of full blush brush from Real Techniques. I also have one from Tartan and Twine, and this one's sort of fluffy but angled, so you could really get in and be more detailed if that's what you want to do. And then I have one that is a little bit more tapered and precise. So this is from Real Techniques as well, where you can really just get the apples of the cheeks. So whichever you prefer, I definitely think you need a cheek brush. Next up, I think you need a brush for bronzer. I have a few options here. This large one that I got, I don't even know what these ones are. I just really like them for the fancy handles. But it can cover a very large area and buff out. There's another one that comes in the set that's a little bit more tapered, so it would do the same job. But if this is you're warming up your whole face, it just depends on what your application wanted to be a little bit more precise or a little bit more wide and buffed and diffused. And the other favorite brush that I have that I use all the time for bronzer is from Real Techniques. It's a stippling brush. They call it a bronzer brush. It's a stippling brush here, but then it does still diffuse. I love how it makes it look like it's just part of your skin. The other two brushes that I use for bronzer that I don't have in here, is I use one from, where is that? This is the one I use from e.l.f. and this is it's called the Complexion brush. I really love this brush, and also this multi-purpose powder brush from Moda. Next, I think we need a sort of buffing foundation brush, and I have a couple examples here. This one is from Tartan and Twine, and this is going to be more flat. It's going to buff in all of your foundation. I used to use a sponge a lot for foundation. I'm back to using a brush. I just really like how the application is. And I also have this one from Real Techniques, which is sort of the angled type brush, which can then get into things around your nose or your mouth. It just depends on your preference. And the one that I use all the time, which is dirty, but I'll still show you, is the e.l.f. Blurring Foundation Brush. I really, really love this one. You can see because it's very, very dirty. Next, I think that a blending brush for eyes is really nice to have. This one is from Real Techniques, so it can really help to diffuse out the crease if you're laying different colors in, or just sort of marry in all these colors here. I also have this one from Laura Ashley, which I think I got at Ross, which I really, really love as well. So those to me are a must. I think a powder brush for very concentrated areas such as underneath the eye is important. I really like this brush from e.l.f. I have two of them. This one says highlight brush, but I really like the fluffiness that it goes like right up under the eye. I also have this one from Wet n Wild that does a great job with that. And then I have this brush from Kat Von D, which is sort of like a stippling type brush that I do use for like under eye powder as well. And so I do think that that's a good one to have. I think just a regular, like a small eye brush is important. So you have your large one and then you have your smaller one. So like if you just wanted to put just right on the lid. I also like these for putting in inner corner highlight shades and then blending them out. This one is from Real Techniques and so is this one. They're just from two separate collections, so I really love those. I also think that a detailing brush, like so this one is from Crown, and you can see how it's very pointed, so you could really pack color along the sort of outer V or up under the lash line, which I think is nice. I also like this shading brush from Real Techniques. I think it does the same thing. It can really help to have like more of a diffused look though as well. A detail brush. So this one is from Crown and this one is from Real Techniques. These are great like if you're trying to put maybe a highlight shade right up under the brow or doing something on the lower lash line, or if you wanted to use shadow as liner. I think these are really, really great for something like that. And then I do have two honorable mentions, and those are a highlight brush, whether it's a fan brush or otherwise. So I have this was from the Wet n Wild set. All the Wet n Wild brushes are from the set that came for holiday this past year. So you have sort of the fan brush. I like a more concentrated look with my concealer, with my highlight. So I would use this brush from Wet n Wild for that. My favorite one, let me see, is this one from e.l.f. It's called the Angled Contour Brush, but I love it for highlights. I put it right there on the nose, right here like this, and I just think it works really well, especially with this like pointy edge. And then last but not least, I think that an angled brush is really important if you do a lot of brow work, if you want to put concealer right up under the brows to, you know, sort of carve that out. You can see how it would go right up underneath there. Also, if you're using a base to maybe do a cut crease or to lay down and add packing colors to the lid, this is really great. And also up under the lash line or for liner. These two are from Sonia Kashuk, but I also have one that I love from Flower Beauty as well, so that's a great one too. And that's it. Those are all of the brushes that I think every person should use. Another honorable mention would be sponge. I love this one here. This is from Eco Tools. I like the shape of this one a lot, and I use these from Real Techniques all the time for my concealer. So I definitely think that that's like sort of an honorable mention, but we are talking about brushes. So anyway, what's your favorite brushes? If I didn't mention them, put them down below. What would you add to the list? What would you take off? I thank you and so glad that you were here to watch this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I upload on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you have subscribed, I'll see you in my next video. Okay? Bye!